I'm talking with Sandy and Jim Dannis from, very nice, from New Hampshire, if I'm not mistaken. Just completed the race across the West in the 50 plus, correct? And you were second, third? Third. Okay, third place in the 50 plus. So first of all, congratulations. And second of all, if you guys could tell me about your experience out there. And I will leave this as an open-ended question and just tell me your thoughts on the race.
It's a great race. We're, as you said, we're from New Hampshire, and so this is all totally new to us. We don't have deserts out there. Right. We don't have deserts out there. We don't have races that are of this magnitude. And so it's totally new to us. And what we love about it, we love seeing what a great way to see 862 miles of beautiful territory. We met a ton of really nice people. Virtually everybody along the course of the race was supportive and was happy, and it was just a really great personal experience in that regard. What were the challenges? We were ridiculously unprepared, so we had trained ourselves to a fitness level that we could do the mileage and the climbing, but we were totally unprepared for the heat, yep. and for the probably for the heat and for the dryness. And so for the first time station, for the first 24 hours of the race, we ended up off the bike for 9 hours. Somehow, which we have no idea how it happened, I managed to cramp up before the first time station. And so we saw pretty early on that we weren't going to meet our time objectives, and we said, well, we just wanted to get the experience of seeing the whole line of it.
So I talked to Sandy before the race, and I think she may be the only, I don't know if I shouldn't say this, but she's one of the few spouse crew chiefs. It looks like you survived and flourished over the course of the race. Any comments, maybe Sandy?
Well, it was an experience. I know people say don't have your wife on the crew, or especially as your crew chief, because we really have to tell our husbands things and they don't, or your spouse something, and you don't want it to appear as being nagging. So when I say you have to drink another bottle, as opposed to saying stop being a nag, or you don't want to have to do it, I did get the other members of the crew to say something to him when they felt he needed to do something differently. But I thought it was a great experience. We have a great relationship, and I don't think we would think about doing something like this without one another right there. So I mean, it never occurred to us. He asked me to be if I would be on his team when he decided to do this. So
very nice.
So one more thing on so we went to this crew seminar. We had originally signed up for RAM, and some people who were much smarter than us said, "You're from New Hampshire. You've only done one ultra cycling event. You're ridiculous to try to do RAM." They said, "Get some desert experience first." We're so glad we did. Yeah. Now we went to this crew seminar for RAM though, and George Thomas was presenting, and he said, and he's going around the room asking you to introduce. He says, "So who's your crew chief?" And I said, "My wife." And you could see he kept his smile pasted on his face. And I remember I could say, something isn't really jiving here. And so I said, "Is there a problem with having your wife as crew chief?" And he says, "Did you read my book?" And so we went back and we bought the book. He said, "Oh my gosh!" And so you have your wife as a crew chief, you get divorced. This is not cool.
Well, it can go either way, I think. So you guys went the other direction. So
and it worked great. We had a great crew. We had 2 new people crewing for us. We know them, but we hadn't really been together in a vehicle for this extended amount of time. And it was wonderful. There were no divas on the crew. People were willing to do whatever it took. We say thanks to Chris and Mary Ellen. If they see this online, they kept, one is a medical nurse practitioner, one's a bike mechanic. They kept him together, especially after the heat issues.
Yeah,
and the bike, when you had your flats or whatever for Chris, who was actually asking other riders he saw if they needed help with their bikes when they were broken down at the side of the road.
So without the question, we want to actually say something specific, which is, again, we're from New Hampshire, and there's a
northern New Hampshire.
There's a sort of a small town culture there, and so
the cold part of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So we were in, I don't know where we were staying. We're in a desert somewhere, and or actually past the desert, and we're coming up and we see a team off to the side of the road, and they're obviously not, they were
European
from
team.
either
Ram team.
Denmark or Netherlands, and they had a flat on their minivan, and they didn't know how to get their spare tire out. They didn't know how to use the jack, and they didn't know how to call the rental company. And so we just stopped, and I got off the bike, and Chris, who is from the bike shop that we work with. So Chris just put me back and said, "Don't do it," because I was about to change it. And Chris just got under the truck and changed the tire.
Very good. That's the spirit of this race.
And what makes us, I guess, happiest is these people who go back to Europe saying, you know, what you read about America is not true. There are some people who are nice.
Well done. Chris, if you're listening, and you'll see this, congratulations and good job.
Lost to know that too. He got off this week to help us. So.
Yeah, this kid deserves a raise. Come on.
And then one other thing, and again, we are the least experienced, without a doubt, the least experienced cyclists doing this stuff. We don't know how to do this. And so Sandy's sister suggested and so one of the ways I blew up is I got saddle sores that immediately one of them burst. And again, how that happens in 100 miles, I have no idea. And so this is Mary Ellen, and what Mary Ellen did is she brought with her some materials that are used apparently to patch up like bed sores on people in.
They got no worse after.
And so what's it called?
Duoderm.
And so she cuts out these duoderm things and she pastes them on my butt, which is something that I would not ask any mortal to do. But she pastes them she pastes them on my butt, and over the course of the next 2 days, it actually made my saddle sores better. And so it was just remarkable. There's no doubt that without Mary Ellen's help and Chris's help, we would have just dropped. And so they were terrific.
The crew was critical. Forget not the crew chief, but the
the rest of the crew. Yes. Congratulations, and thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I'll get your email off air, as they say, and I'll send you a link. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.